Good evening, Speed Gaming, and welcome to more of Week 1 of the Link to the Past Randomizer League Season 7. Tonight we got Game 2 between the perfect, unadulterated gaming squad, the Pugs, and the Crystal Roller Crew, CRC. On CRC, we once again have armlx and IBKarma, while for the Pugs tonight, we have Andy, and instead of Daaanty, we are joined with Werfjig. It's going to be me, Jesse Radical Sniper 99, joined tonight by Mayan DM on the comms, with Furious Prince and Nojibato on tracking. Hello, Mayan DM.
Hey, Jesse. I feel like every time we finally get together for a commentary, I say, it's been a while since we've done this, and once again, it's probably been since kind of midway through Maine since we got to do this, but hey. I hope everybody out there is ready for a little Link to the Past Randomizer Invitation League Week 1 action tonight. A little ADKDB, that Keysanity, Keydrop, Shuffle All Dungeons with starting boots.
Yep, and we are off. We've got, I believe that was a shield in Link's house, and just a little bit of money at Sanctuary we're seeing from the Pugs. We'll get it all synced up shortly, of course. And yeah, we're seeing a very traditional split tonight for the mode. One runner going Saha Eastern, the other gonna go CAC.
Yeah, you get those starting boots, and they're real boots, so you can make bonk checks, you can hit bonk rocks if you're the top couple of runners. If you're one of the bottom pair, you can use them to get into Saha's closet, find out what happens to be there, zoom around Eastern a little bit, maybe.
So the only starting item in this one is the boots. Other than that, it's all dungeons, Keysanity. And the key drop portion of that Keysanity is that all the pot keys and the enemy keys are also shuffled. So I won't call the mode easy. This is definitely a very complicated mode, but you got a friend. And having a friend makes all the difference in the world.
Especially when you start wondering where that 4th or 5th key to Swamp Palace was.
Or the 4th Castle Tower small. Speaking of keys, of course, we did get our first GT key for our runners on the top. In terms of the tracker, that Zelda icon is our Hyrule Castle. While normally you don't think about Hyrule Castle keys in Link to the Past, in Keydrop, the Hyrule Castle has 4 small keys and a big key that are shuffled into the world. So we do want to try to keep track of those keys as our runners go along tonight.
Yeah, it just makes the mode a little more complex, a little more complicated. There's a little more that you need to keep track of. Like, think about Mire, for instance. You never really think, oh, I'm gonna need a bunch of small keys to clear Mire, because so many of them are just readily available under pots. And instead, now we've shuffled those all up. You do need a few of those, all of a sudden. Looks like we've got a sword on the top runners now. Those are always handy to have in the early going. One less thing to worry about when you've got those starting boots and you're dashing around. Yeah, and we'll get a little syncage going on here. We've got the Pugs stopped for just a handful of seconds while we let the CRC feeds catch back up time-wise.
Yeah, I got that pretty much synced now, so maybe some little differences, but we're within about a second of everybody now, so apologies for that, just trying to get everything going on the setup there. But yeah, CAC, very nice with that sword glove combo. A lot of options now for Werf and Arm.
And it seems that Andy and Karma are both going to go ahead and come at the village from the south here.
Yeah, hoping for some bombs. I will say Karma having a little bit better luck with it, but it doesn't make a huge difference. As you can see, both of our bottom runners do have the money to buy bombs anyway, so no real loss. Like, Andy could have really cared more, but it wasn't a big deal. And we're seeing Werf go after the back of escape here with that glove, like the play. Pretty easy checks to make, and we're going to see the same from Arm.
Yeah, you get 3 quick checks back here. You hope that something interesting comes out. A small key to Ice Palace, you certainly don't hate those. And it shouldn't really be too much longer before we start seeing our teams pick their next split up point. I mean, we have the pretty obvious early, one player is going to go to Kakariko Village, the other one's going to make that Saha Eastern look, and then depending on what they find, maybe their teammate gets to go over to that eastern area, maybe not, and instead we get a little South Shore check, while the players who made the initial Saha Eastern play have to hoover up everything that was found in the village, because it's the village in Keysanity. Of course you're going to have to go and pick up 5 or 10 things.
Yeah, I mean, with that early weapon and the glove, like, you really do, those are things you can't really see delays on. Even the flippers are pretty nice, so I get the play for Karma and Andy to kind of clean up here. I will say, Andy definitely in better money shape here. That over 600 bucks that he's got right now going to be perfect for the Zora checks. So it looks like Werf is doubling back for the dam and for probably a Gina, and letting Andy worry about the Zora area for now. But yeah, this is game 2 of the week between these two teams. We had game 1 just a couple nights ago where the Crystal Roller Crew won that race. So good start to their season. Pugs looking to get their first win tonight.
Yeah, CRC, last year's Open League champions, the grand champions of Open League last year, and thus one of the newly invited teams into the Invitational. You cannot say that they did not earn their spot here. They absolutely tore a track through the Crystal Conference in Open League last year and went all the way to finals and took it all home. And what did they do? Season 7, start off an Invitational League, and they put a win on the board already.
Yeah, and I will say, having done a lot for the practice seeds and kind of see these two, and even Zaf, their third member, like, this team has put in a lot of work on the co-op side and is a strong co-op team.
Yeah, it certainly showed in playoff time last year, and with 4 weeks of co-op in the regular season this year, you have to imagine that it's going to stand them in pretty good stead.
Meanwhile, we did see the Titans mitts for Andy at the Zora waterfall checks, so that's Dark World access, and we do get that mirror, so nice clearing of the area, good finding of that mirror. I think that's the second race. We had a race earlier today with the mirror there as well.
Ah, Rando, it doesn't have to be the same, but it does rhyme occasionally, doesn't it?
Yep. Meanwhile, we do have Arm on the mountain while Karma goes to activate that flute. Meanwhile, Werf is
much of a mountain play for armlx at the moment, just because, well, that mirror seems to be what's going to give anything more up here, and we're not quite there yet, unless there's a hook shot inside here, which there could be, I suppose.
Yeah, unfortunate routing there. Not a bad route, just not going to work out the best for Arm there.
It does give Crystal Roller Crew sight on that second sword. You have to imagine that they're going to get at that fairly quickly.
Yeah, I mean, they realistically, Karma needs to rush that Zora area. He's got the money in the flippers. Like, that's your play. We see King's Tomb. There's the first of our 4 Castle Tower small keys. We do have the cape as well, so we have some access to start making checks.
It certainly feels like halfway-ish through week 1 here that Castle Tower is a very dangerous location in this mode. Just because of the way the keys lock so much of it away, and sometimes you just wind up with required double and triple dips of Castle Tower, because that's the way this mode rolls sometimes.
Yeah, and we've seen that kind of be the story in a lot of the races of, like, you know, both teams having good strategies, and what happens is one person makes a dive somewhere they shouldn't. One team makes a bit of a gamble on a check or a dungeon, and it works out, or it doesn't. And that's one of the difficulties of this mode, is kind of having that great strategy to get through these seeds. Meyer Shed, though, is giving us just some money.
Yeah, well, cash money isn't going to hurt your feelings, but once you've already paid off Zora, you've probably spent the lion's share of what you're going to need in the seed.
Yeah, I mean, Werf is perfectly fine for money at this point. Meanwhile, Arm is giving us the front of escape for a little bit. Unfortunately, no great finds there. I think, what, we got a pod small? Did we? Yeah, so like seeing them, but it's not massive yet. We get our first Thieves Town small there from Werf on the torch. There are 3 of those. We need at least 2 to beat the dungeon. And Arm is actually going to give us some of Castle Tower. I will say the unfortunate part here is that Karma just a little slow to the waterfall, and putting our armlx in these checks here.
Yeah, and it was really just kind of the way the checks ordered out for them that didn't quite work. It stood the pugs in a bit better stead here in the early going.
Yeah, a little bit better of a split on the left side here with the pugs. Andy in Hera with that Master Sword and the big key to Hera, so he'll get the first dungeon of the race. And Werf also getting a big key to, I believe that was Eastern Palace out of Checkerboard Cave. And yeah, we're up to Tempered Sword now, jeez.
Yeah, just go up the mountain, collect your swords, I guess.
Easy worm fight. Nicely done from Andy. That's going to be our first dungeon clear for tonight. $20 and a crystal. Was there something at the top of Hera that was massively important that's causing Worf to make this play?
Well, between the sword on top of Spec Rock and the sword in Hera, I
I mean,
assume he just wants the firepower before he starts really having to do Dark World. And
yeah, no,
it's
I
kind of tough to
can
turn
see
down Tempered Sword.
I can see the swords. I'm just wondering, like, did I miss something in the upstairs that was massively worth the time to kill Moldorm here? Oh, I guess there was something in Big Chest I did not notice. The Thieves Small, right. Like, I don't know, is that worth the time here?
Is that the first or the second Thieves Small we've seen?
I think it might be the first for... Oh, that's the second for Worf, actually. Okay. I mean, it's helpful if we find that Thieves big. I just didn't know if it was worth all that time investment to climb the tower here. You know, maybe hope for a little better. Because, like, if I'm Pugs, I might just say to Worf, like, hey, you're going to worry about doing the loop instead of worrying about back at Thieves. Like, maybe Andy, if we find Thieves big, would be the one in Thieves Town. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's possible. And one of the things I feel about the Keydrop sanity portion of this is sometimes you're just a little more incentivized to follow after your partner than in a more traditional kind of co-op mode.
Yeah, there's a tough balance to strike with those. Meanwhile, we do have Arm and Karma also into their Dark World stuff. Karma hitting up desert area, which we saw on Worf's side, and then Arm is kind of following in on what Andy was doing as well. So I expect to see a drop from Arm into the front of Skull. But we'll see if he does that. I mean, with the flute and the boots, like, it's really quick and easy to get back here. There's our first Eastern Small out of the pinball room of Skull Woods. You do need at least one to beat Armos. There are 2 keys, though, for that dungeon. And yeah, Andy is going to turn in that bottle at Sick Kid real quick. Find out if he needs to tell Worf to go back for it. Bombos Medallion in the front of Thieves Town for Werfjig. But just a map off Sick Kid.
Yep, spare your teammate the time and the text box.
Yeah, and realistically, I think that means what? Did we get anything really on that front left of Skull? Maybe a... Oh, half magic. Like, it's nice, but I don't know if I would ever tell my partner to go get it at that point. Like, another CT small there at Thieves 3. I guess, yeah, the Eastern Small is worth it, so... Yeah, I like this play from Andy. He's continuing to kind of diverge a bit from Worf, just getting more checks done, hitting up North Dark World. I don't know if he'll take this all the way to the Catfish and Pyramid and Pod, but it's at least in the line. He could come back from Graveyard. Nice Desert Small there. Arm, meanwhile,
Like
back
the
up the
Pugs
mountain.
are trying to give themselves all of the possible options. Aside from when they decided to converge at Hera there, they have really done the classical co-op thing with really trying to heavily split up the world between them.
Yeah, and I will say, like, the game 1 race, like there were a couple of things that just didn't work out on the Pug side that caused that win, really, for CRC, so... Not to take anything away from Crystal Roller Crew in Game 1, but Pugs definitely had a few unforced errors that were really rough on them. So they're playing, I must say, the start of this race is probably going a little better for them than the last one did. Our Smith is nothing tonight. We'll see if Purple Chest gives us anything. Those flippers are going to give us Dark World access to East Dark World, so we'll see if that becomes a thing. Meanwhile, Werf is dropping in for the Magic Bat. Good Moldorm kill there for Arm. And that's a hammer on the Magic Bat.
Ooh, one of those classic trap rando locations for a hammer. Go ahead and throw your Dark World portal away and hope the hammer shows up.
Yeah, I expect Karma. I'm looking at Karma's tracker and I'm like, does Karma not have powder? Oh no. I am scared. Yeah, Karma doesn't have powder. This is bad.
Yeah, unfortunately for Crystal Roller Crew, that's going to isolate the check, both with Karma not having the powder yet, and Arm not being on that part of the chain. Unless something comes out of this purple chest, and IBKarma has to say to armlx, you need to get over here, and while you're doing that, you want to have a quick look at that powder?
Well, that's the hard part here, is that for CRC, like, unless Smith Chain has something, what is sending Arm there immediately? Like, Karma says, you know, hey, the Smith is nothing. You can turn him in and do nothing with it. Andy's going to turn in the Smith. He's going to think about Purple Chest. That was a red cane? I think? On Stumpy?
I believe you're correct.
And we're remembering, wait, I got a purple chest that we're turning in.
Yep. Almost threw that purple chest away, but not quite.
Okay, so the fact that there's a desert small on purple chest is a good thing. That at least becomes a bit more incentive to send Arm on that Smith Chain. Just possibly a little bit delayed. So they'll be a little behind to that hammer, which in terms of like big pieces right now, it's more a question of, you know, how important is East Death Mountain? Because Pugs are going to be up there shortly. Like, just the breadth of knowledge on Pugs is starting to expand and has more ways to grow. There's our Thieves Town Big out of Hype Cave. And another Podsmall. So that's a clearable Thieves Town. We're still missing Thieves 3, but 2 is good.
It does put you in that position with Thieves Town, kind of like not having the one small key does normally, where, well, we can clear this now. How badly do we want to leave this big chest behind forever?
Well, and you could easily say, you know, one person clear it, one person go back later. Like, honestly, I think there's a world where you could easily just say, hey, or if you got keys, go take care of it. And Andy, go up the mountain and do all of East Death Mountain. Andy is going to talk to the bomb vendor, though. We're going to find out our 5/6s are Skull and Mire tonight. Meanwhile, man under the bridge, just a piece of paper. Andy backrouting a little bit to hit these checks he skipped to turn in the purple chest really quickly. Does want that Cane of Samaria. We're only on one Ice Small, so no reason to rush Ice Palace at this point, but it does look like Andy is thinking Mountain here. Meanwhile, Pyramid Ledge, just a compass, but Werf is going to turn this into also doing the front of escape checks. We did not see anybody from Pugs hit up this area yet. Meanwhile, Karma is our first runner into the Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, and it may be that lack of Ice Palace keys is a little bit of a saving grace for CRC right now, because, well, when you have the hammer, that looks like a much more palatable palace.
I was going to say, I just noticed Werf is actually now up to 2, so he could clear ice. That's not a terrible ice for him. We'll just have to miss the big chest, but that's not really terrible. Yeah, and that's really unfortunate, as chat's pointing out, Arms skipping out on the Smith Chain and purple chest. Not too worried about a Desert Small right now, so Powder is even more kind of off the table for him. But I will point out, like, the fact that now we have 2 smalls and a big for Thieves could send Arm back over to Thieves Town to take care of that dungeon. Swamp Palace small key in Paradox 2 for Andy. Another Swamp Small there on right side of Pod. Oh, there's Thieves 3. In Paradox 5, as well as one of our 8 GT smalls, and some other junk.
Yeah, if you're a team and you're sitting there looking at your key logic, you're starting to wonder, alright, what's in the back half of Thieves Town, because the game's giving us everything.
Yep. And unfortunately for CRC, we are seeing Arm go into Mire. 3 small, so he's got some checks he can make. That's not terrible. It's just, you know, you think it looks like what's going to work out very nicely for Pugs here is just the ability to clear a lot more and possibly full clear dungeons here. Mire small and a compass out of Super Bunny. So yeah, I mean, realistically, Andy should probably get that 3rd Thieves small and then make his way over to Thieves Town for that clear. And I wouldn't be shocked if we're seeing Werf into Ice Palace soon with the 2 smalls he's got. Starting to build a little bit of a collection of Hyrule Castle smalls as well. We've seen a couple of them. Ooh. Getting the catfish on Werf as Andy going for the hovers in Hookshot Cave. Almost had it on that first one. Did miss it at the end. Going right back for it, though. We got a Swamp Small locked by the hookshot there, so that's interesting. And we got another Pod Small at that second chest. One last hover to get the top check here. Hearing word we got a bow in Misery Mire? Yes, we did. Cool. And the lamp, apparently. I was looking over at Hookshot Cave and missed the Meyer stuff. Cool finds. Could send Arm, though, over to Eastern Palace Pod and just kind of further send him away. Oh, and we got the Meyer Big, so hey. Good set of checks. Coming, like, he'll be able to beat Meyer, which is good. Arma turning in that mushroom. Unfortunately, nothing of great importance there.
Looks like armlx will see your hover and raise you one. That was a very nice Meyer Bridge hover.
Yeah, very nicely done there. Meanwhile, Karma into Tower of Hera as well, so he'll be our fourth runner clearing out Tower of Hera. You know, everybody does want that Temperate Sword pretty quickly, so going to make this play up to here. It looks like Andy is going to head for Meyer here. Maybe? No? Okay. Maybe he's just getting the Thieves Small out of Desert Palace? Okay, we are going to get to see Meyer from Andy as well, so... So Bow and Lamp incoming for the Pugs. A little awkward direction on that kill, but nicely done from Arm to get his second dungeon, and that was a medallion. Was that Ether? Was that our other medallion necessary for tonight?
I did not catch it, but I suspect that our eagle-eyed
Yes,
trackers
it
did.
was. That is Ether, so we can get into Turtle Rock now as well. And yeah, Werf with that third Thief Small is making the clear play. It's, you know, what other option does he have but to clear out Thieves Town here? It's a fully clearable dungeon. You feel good making those plays. Looks like Arm is going back for the Smith, so he'll be turning that in. He'll get the purple chest turn, and hopefully he's remembering to hit up the bat here. That's been kind of the thing we've been fixated on for a bit.
Yeah, that has really kind of been trapping Crystal Roller Crew a little bit, in that now, once again, we've got them kind of treading over each other, as the lack of that hammer has really precluded them from getting to split up the way they might have wanted to, in the way that the Pugs have.
Yeah, and here we go. Arm hitting up the bat. So this is good information for CRC. They'll be able to start moving on that now. Karma is going to continue here in Thieves Town, so he'll get the dungeon clear. We're going to get some info, though, alongside it. So While Karma and Werf are both in this dungeon, Werf is going to get the full dungeon clear, and we'll see how important that Thieves Town big chest turns out to be.
I suspect it's one of those plays where CRC, if they worry about it, could just go ahead and send armlx to follow up on it almost immediately.
Yeah, it really just becomes a question of like the extra dips required now. That's the kind of stuff you hate to see. And that's a big key to pod. Oh no. Oh, that is a rough find. Like, I can't, you know, I'm never one to say a race is looking bad, but this is a really rough spot for CRC already. Pugs have just been very strong in their routing as a team on this one. The splits worked out really well. And unfortunately, that Hammer and Thieves Town play already putting them in a hole. But Karma coming into his blind fight just as Werf takes down Blind for a small key to Castle Tower. We're starting to build up the collection there. And Arm finishing out the Paradox and Dark Death Mountain checks, as Andy is still working through his Misery Mire as well. Looks like Andy actually has 2 currently. Yeah. Andy's personal tracker is showing 2 CT keys, so that is the 3rd one we know of. Meanwhile, that Skullwood big key that we did get, just some bombs there. Werf's gonna get the stuff he was gonna need out of here. The half magic's a nice bonus. I'm guessing he'll pick up the bottle as well. And of course, we had that small key in Pinball Room. Now, Arm could make a little bit of a dip here into TR. I don't think he will. Probably going to see Werf head towards Mire soon. He's got all those Eastern keys, and we know the bow and lamp are coming up, so Eastern, and he's got the that pod big out of Thieves Town, so have to assume we're going to start seeing the bow dungeons for Pugs as well.
Certainly tough to turn down the opportunity to clear out dungeons that you know you're going to have to do eventually anyway.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like what we've been able to see. That is a TR small key for Arm in the compass chest of TR. Of course it is. But yeah, I mean, what we've been able to see is like Werf did Thieves and is able to say to Andy, like, you need your 3rd Thieves small, go get it from Desert. Meanwhile, Andy was able to map out Mire, so they can just swap places here and say, we're going to meet in Eastern Pod after this, probably.
Or if they want to continue their splitting up ways, one of them could just swing on by Ice Palace instead, although between Eastern and Pod, maybe there's enough there. Maybe you try to spike that Ice Palace big key and make your life just a little bit easier.
Yeah, I mean, they could split Eastern Pod, one work on Eastern while the other one starts Pod. really, I think the timing would work out pretty decently there, and I think there's enough in that area to warrant them doing that together, and then hitting ice afterwards, probably.
Armlx really is matching the pug's hover for hover here.
Yeah, I want to say in game 1 he was doing the same as well, so good job from Arm there on those extra checks. Good information. I don't believe Karma hovers.
I do not believe that he does. But again, it's all dungeons. The hookshot's going to have to show up eventually because there's no hovering Swamp Palace.
I think the real worry is, like, if the hookshot's in Swamp, like, does Karma need to get that Swamp Palace small key out of Hookshot Cave in a pretty rough position for him? But yeah, Andy actually is going right for the Eastern play. Interestingly enough, I hadn't said. Arm getting that money out of Spike Cave now. Say Werf having a very relaxed Vidi fight there. Easy times. And that's a French vanilla bow in Eastern Palace. Lovely.
Yeah, behind all sorts of things that the game has helpfully given our runners.
Yeah. Another pod small there off of the Igor in the back, so more than enough small keys to deal with a full clear of pod, no matter what checks you want to make. I have to imagine Werf will still pick up silvers. It's a little bit of extra time to go all the way around to the vanilla big key chest, but there's still enough race left. I think it's worth his effort to make the trek to it.
Yeah, I can certainly see the temptation. I wonder, when you've already got Vidi put away, how much more time save have you really got there? It's probably fairly even with the Ganon fight.
Yeah, I mean, a few seconds here, a few seconds there. I think we can get the value out of it. It's not perfect, but I think we can make it worth our while. And in the service of that, Telethar in chat saying probably about 15 seconds. Still? Okay. Appreciate the timing. And, you know, mind you, you were talking about the Ice Palace play. Andy going for ice right now without the big key.
It feels at this point like maybe the Pug's other options were not really better. I mean, you don't really want to do a hookshotless Swamp Palace. You don't really want to tread over your partner's toes in pod, so yeah, I mean, ice less the big key, it still gives you most everything.
Yeah, I think this was a time you could have merged with your teammate and just like, hey, I know Werf just did, like, Werf doing Mire made sense for a bow. But, like, I have to say, I'm surprised Andy didn't just go for the known quantities of Thieves and Pod. Or at least Thieves to let Werf clear out Pod to see if maybe we could get that Ice Big out of here. Like, I feel like that potential Ice Big was enough of a reason for Andy to maybe delay a little bit on this decision. Harmless Hellway is just a hair small. I don't want to see that key, really.
No, that key is kind of out of the way at this point, and I don't think we're going to see anybody running right after that one, which doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't have something that our runners need.
And yeah, going back to like the double dips of this mode really being the problem, you look at some of the dips that are coming for CRC here. It's, you know, Arm and Karma have both been in pod now without a big key. Karma beat Thieves without Thieves 3 to get that pod big. So it's, you know, these are starting to add up a little bit, and it's going to be pretty rough because, like, not only are they double dipping, Pugs is getting full clears. We got another desert small. We've been building up. I feel like we've seen almost all of the desert smalls across the board. Like, we've gotten quite a few across these last couple of minutes. We are at least 3 or 4 keys, I believe. That is red mail in iced tea. Andy will be at 10 out of 12 checks. We'll see if he goes back in for the conveyor belt room berry. But we're about to see Cold Stare on his side as Werf takes on Helmasaur. And Karma is coming up on Vitreous. Nice Helma kill and great Cold Stare kill there. Karma, meanwhile, into phase 2 of Vitreous. Good job with the bow there to finish that fight. Helma giving us just
who
a
really
bow.
remembered that bow. Everybody else kept doing sword slashes and spins, and then maybe getting the bow out at some odd catty corner angle. Karma says, no, guys, hold on. Let's just, we'll do phase 1 like you do, and then we'll get the bow out.
But yeah, we did see a pendant Helmasaur King and Crystal in Ice Palace. So and this looks like this might be the Thieves Town play now for Andy. Running out of a lot of extra stuff, so I think this is the right play. Worf just going to take care of Eastern Palace while he's in the area. No reason to really come back here, except after getting the green pendant, so let's just take care of it now. And Worf is skipping silvers.
Yeah, you would certainly think that he's had enough time to think about it and make that consideration of how much time does it cost, how much time does it save, and he's come down on the side of, I'm going to go ahead and save the time by not going and getting it.
Yeah, I gotta believe that was one of the discussions in their voice call that was going on for a bit of like, what are we doing? Are we actually gonna make this, am I spending the time? And they came to that conclusion as a team.
Speaking of those teammate voice calls, armlx is about to give Karma some rather unfortunate news.
Yeah, I can't imagine this one's gonna be really a happy moment. Because there is that pod big key, and yeah.
And at that point, if you're the teammate who finds it, about all you can say is, hopefully they came in here without the ability to get that on at least one of them as well. Because that's your out.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you're looking at the dungeons, and so you got 5 for Worf. Andy's got 4 on his end, about to be 5. Arm's about to get his 4th, and Karma, I think, is on his 4th now after getting Meyer. So this will be his 4th with the Ice Palace clear. But what we can say is, specifically for the Pug side of things, is, the question of, where are we going next? Like, we're getting down to the point where they're going to have to start making these kinds of calls of dipping things that they can't necessarily beat or clean up. So we're seeing that back of escape key rat from Worf, just another ice small, not terrible to have for routing purposes, but nothing in terms of extra checks. And now it looks like Worf is going to take his 3 CT keys and at least give us all the checks inside of Castle Tower. Or possibly down to Zelda Cell. So, I mean, that third Hyrule Castle small key does put these checks in logic, so not a bad idea. And Andy's going to hit up the other kind of, like, open set of checks with the Desert Palace ones. So we're going to get to see a bit of a mix here from both of our runners on the Pug side. We have seen Catfish and Zora, yes. That's a Swamp Small in the down at Zelda's cell area as we get the Fire Rod on Andy's side on right side Desert.
Ooh, all 4 desert small keys required this time.
Yeah, we've had some pretty loaded right side deserts this week, and it's, always great when one runner on your team checks it. And this time, Andy with the check to find Fire Rod. Yeah, in terms of the TR keys, Andy's personal tracker only shows 2 right now. Arm might have a third. Yeah, Arm's only got 2 as well. So, like, not tons of keys. Yeah, third is in that key in TR. So, like, we're getting some options, just not great ones yet. TR is going to become viable soon. Yeah, and Werf is saying, I'm going to worry about Ice Palace right now, because probably need to get the stuff out of there. There were some keys in Ice that we want. So they're kind of just trying to build up their supplies for some of the other dungeons by beating the ones they know they can. Moth fight coming up for Andy. Getting that early dash poke. Decent fight. Only getting 4 spikes to move is a pretty good one. And there's our mirror shield for Andy. So he found all 3 of the shields. Werf will only get 1 shield tonight. In terms of checking the conveyor room of Ice Palace, I will say Werf could route backwards to it. I know Andy did that in game 1, so we might see Werf make the play. Yep, we are going to see Werf go for conveyor room here. And with that Fire Rod, we did unlock the Pyramid Fairy, so we're going to get to see that on Andy's side. And that is a big key on the conveyor room to Ice Palace.
Very humorous video game.
But we will get to find out if Andy will have to make that return trip as well. And no, just 10 arrows there, so no return to Ice Palace for Andy. And yeah, Pyramid Fairy, nothing this time. Meanwhile, Andy is going to make those castle tower checks for the pugs. With 3 keys, that is all the chests inside. We're playing a little bit safe, making sure to get the fairy, or use his powder there. Our second check in Castle Tower was just a map, so nothing too important. Coming up on Bogard. Bogard also drawing blank. One check left in the circle of pots on the red guard. Down goes Cold Stare on Werf's side. Karma, meanwhile, is going to hit right side desert, so he will get his Fire Rod. And that was such a quick mirror after getting the item. It was just bombs. Okay, so nothing important in Castle Tower to work off of. So we're down to Swamp Palace or Turtle Rock as our answer. Idea, where are you going?
I feel like the Pug's answer is going to be both. When it comes to Crystal Roller Crew, with armlx having already dipped into the front of TR, I feel like maybe the front of Hookless Swamp is going to be a little more heavily weighted for them when it comes time for them to make that decision.
I mean, I could see a bit of make Arm go for the swamp play, given the fact that he was able to hover out an extra key for Swamp Palace, and say to Karma, like, maybe you should make the TR dip. I think there's a world that could make a lot of sense. Meanwhile, Hyrule Castle checks finishing up for Andy. So, got a bunch of Swamp Smalls at this point on his side. Like, I could see the play. Oh, that's just 3 Swamp Smalls for Andy. My mistake. I thought we had more than we actually did. But Andy is going for Turtle Rock. Karma having a little bit of a rough time with that back Gibdo, as he drops in for his Moth fight. But another good fight there from Karma. Just 3 spikes moving. That's pretty clean. Meanwhile, Arm working through his Cold Stare fight. Pretty well done as well, keeping Cold restricted to that top right corner as Werf approaches the Moth as well. I will make note on Karma's side, little optimization. If you are clearing all of the back of Skull, make sure to do under the bridge first. It saves just a little bit of time because of the re-entry. But I looked away and missed Werf killing the Moth, so nice kill. That is Andy's 3rd small key for Turtle Rock. He's probably happy to see a 3rd small at this point, because that does get us up all the way to the Crystal Roller Room. You wouldn't think that the keys spend so quickly in Turtle Rock, but there are 3 small key doors, one after another, in the front of Turtle Rock.
And normally the enemies are happy to hand over a key or two and allow you to kind of get around some of that requirement, but not in Keydrop they don't. Not necessarily anyway, although they still could.
I mean, it feels like we're gonna get some kind of access here in TR for more TR. But Werf is starting to hit up the rest of this by going for Swamp instead. And here's the split we were thinking, like, one of them's going to do Swamp, one's going to do TR.
Yeah, the Pugs have pretty much come down to the point where one of these has to be right, and because it's co-op, they get to try both.
Yep. We got a small key for ice there in the bombable wall. And Andy is going to set up for a save scum. He knows that he is in bad key position for TR at this point, so for him, that's a vanilla small key under the pot in Swamp Palace. I think Andy's going to scum Lava Island. And the Pokey. Oh, right. He is out of smalls. I don't know what he's thinking then. Good point. I was wrong. Thanks, chat. I hadn't even noticed that that was a vanilla Hyrule Castle small key. Desert Big on left side Swamp Pot. And it looks like Andy is just going to have found nothing here in Turtle Rock. So deep dive and just no real checks. And yeah, Werf is going right for Desert. But nothing really in Turtle Rock today. So the play is Swamp Dive for Desert Big Key. And Werf is going straight for Land Mollis. I will say, I think one of the hard part here is in terms of checks, we did see another TR small in the back of Desert on armlx's side. So when CRC makes that play for Turtle Rock, they'll be able to get a little bit farther. So yeah, there's that TR key for Werf. It doesn't open up anything logically though, so I'm guessing we're either going to get a TR5 here shortly or a hook shot off of Argus, or sorry, Landmo or the big chest. And that is a crystal on Landmo. So actually, are we actually in GT mode? I think we're actually in Ganon's Tower mode at this point. I think we've got 7 crystals. So...
which would explain the continued non-existence of the hookshot in inventory and the lack of TR smalls.
But we are going to get that Desert Palace big chest check real quick. And what is here but another small key to GT? I mean, you're not going to complain about getting more GT smalls when it looks like that's where we're headed. And yeah, Andy going for the bomb spooky here on left side swamp. Going to try to get a little more info. Very nicely done, Andy. Once again hitting a bomb spooky. I've seen a couple of these from him recently, and yeah, good play. He's going to get 2 extra checks. It didn't pay out in game 1. We'll see if anything's here in game 2. We're going to open up TR, probably not head in, no reason to. I checked his personal tracker, only at 2 small keys right now. So he is headed for GT. And that is a hook shot on the GT torch. Lovely. Yeah, and Werf enters GT with 5 small keys, so everything but map chest is available for him right now. That's not too bad.
Andy had a blue rupee on the left side swamp here. Let's see if an big key location has anything more interesting.
It's a small key, and that's CT4. Wow. Okay.
All right, well, you're going to need all the Swamp Palace keys too, now aren't you? Unless, of course, you're conversant with that little bit of tech that Andy just pulled off.
Yeah, so Andy's going to save the need for Swamp 6. Unfortunately, I don't know if Werf is versed in Bomb Spooky and might need all 6 Swamp Smalls tonight. Meanwhile, Karma is making his way back into Thieves Town. As we know, there is a odd big key in the big chest of Thieves Town that unfortunately Karma wasn't able to get on his clear of the dungeon. So, having to make his play back to here. Andy gonna work through. Oh no, Andy in desert without his desert 4.
Yeah, he did catch it reasonably quickly, all things considered, and compared
I mean, he got to the
some
door,
of
he needed it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, well, that happens sometimes, and if you're a Pugs fan, it's been happening a lot less than it has been to CRC in this game, and it's kind of turned into the story of the game where right now we have Karma going back through Thieves Town because, well, the order of things just has not really worked out in Crystal Roller Crew's favor this game.
Yeah, what I'll say is like this was one of the things that was such a big deal in game 1. Andy had a similar thing happen in the back of Skull Woods, so it's not a great feeling. I'm sure, that's not something you want to have happen. They're pretty well off at this point. Like, I wouldn't be too concerned for them, but you just don't like having that happen.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that the two of us sitting here looking down from the proverbial 30,000-foot view can say, oh, well, they'll be fine. When it's just you and your partner on a voice call looking at the timer and thinking, man, I just burned 45 seconds running through the back of desert when I didn't have a key to go through the door, the one door that I had to go through still. That's not the greatest feeling in the world. And that's when your co-op partner has to say, it does happen to everybody from time to time. Don't worry about it. Go get the key you need. Now, the dangerous part is when your next question is, okay, now where was that key?
Yeah.
And the answer you do not want to hear then is,
Let me find it. We're exiting GT real quick. Does Werf have enough TR keys now? I don't think he does.
I mean, he will get one more in Compass Chest, so it's his current count +1 when he walks in.
Yeah, I'm curious what his current count is. I only see 3 on the tracker. Does he has a 4th. He's fine. Yeah, he's fine now. It looks like the only thing he's really looking for, I think, might be... No, he needs Swamp 6, possibly. I don't know. Can anybody tell me if Werf knows how to do Bomb Spooky? Like, yeah, this is probably go mode for the pugs. I just don't know his comfortability with that skill tech. And yes, you had to use your Specky key. So he has used that first key. Clear Mouse saying she thinks that Werf has done it. So I will take Clear Mouse's word for it.
I have to say, having watched a few people do that tech, it does not feel like the kind of thing that I would want to learn on the fly in a tournament race, so I certainly hope that if that's what Werfjig is planning to do, that he has had a little practice at it.
Although I'm also getting conflicting information from his teammate Daaanty saying he might have gotten YOLO throws.
Oh, good. So what we know is, we don't know.
Yep, that's perfect.
That just means it's a little more exciting for everybody watching at home, right?
Yeah. Meanwhile, Andy is heading back to Desert Palace to take care of Landmolus. He'll be making his way up to GT right after that. And yeah, Werf is looking for the key, so that tells me he probably does need that Swamp 6. Or at least would prefer to have it. But Trinex fight for Werf went pretty well. Into phase 2 as Andy takes down Landmo. Yeah, and Karma also skipping out on the silvers. Although it looks like that might be because Karma didn't have the second key, actually.
Makes it a pretty easy choice.
And yeah, Werf heading back to GT, he'll be making the climb. Meanwhile, Andy is climbing Death Mountain to head to GT to get his hook and TR keys. So yeah, I mean, at this point, Andy is in no mode for himself. It's really a question of his teammate. Werf is going to head back for the map chest, that fire bar room on left side. He got a couple of small keys for GT in here, so he will get the info of whether or not, or he can get this chest now and have enough keys for his climb. And that's a small key too. Turtle Rock. Oh no.
Oh, take keys that you didn't really want to see there, Jesse.
No, yeah. I mean, he can say to Andy, like, hey, do you want to grab that key for me and check Lava Island? I don't think Andy wants to. He's in go. Like, I gotta wonder if there's a conversation going on right now of, like, trying to coach Werf through how to do Bomb Spooky. You know, sometimes, what I'll say is Andy and Werf are very capable runners, and, like, I would not be shocked if Andy's going to try to coach him through it, but I don't know what, amount of capacity they have for such a discussion right now. And Arm also getting his TR6 there on the fire bar, unfortunately. Meanwhile, Karma did just get his Desert Big, so he'll be off to Landmo for his last crystal. And it looks like Andy is going to do left side GT before heading back to Turtle Rock. So this could be him getting that TR6 just as a safety measure.
Yeah, he had to go as far as that hook shot, but the fact that he's continuing left tells me that maybe he's going to go ahead, pick this other key up, and just make Werf's life a little bit easier.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like, I know Telethar posted this in chat, like, there is reason enough that Andy could just say, like, I should rush the clear at this point. And, like, it's average time, so, like, him saving time is not a bad idea. There's not a ton of checks outside of, like, some big ones. Like, or some of the oddball ones, so it's not terrible. But we're at the top of GT, 20 bucks, some bombs, and a piece of heart in those first 3 checks. And arrows on our penultimate chest. So all we have left is the last Moldorm's last possession. We are just looking for Swamp 6 for Werfjig to get into go mode. And that is a key to Swamp Palace. There we go. That's go mode for Werf.
Little timely communication there from Werf to Andy. Says you don't have to go check that after all. Just go beat the dungeon.
Yeah, I mean, it's really always interesting to see how those little moments time out, and you see that, Andy was coming right to that crossroad, and Werf able to say, hey, I'm in go. You're fine. Don't go to Lava Island. Just go. But Werf has taken down Aga 2. He will be heading to Swamp Palace first to get his 4th Aga Tower small. So no save and quit after Swamp to get back to the pyramid, unfortunately. And yeah, this is all dungeons, so we do need to beat every crystal pendant and both Castle Tower and GT for this. Andy entering the Trinex fight, going for some backdoor strats, as Werf is heading into Dark World for his Swamp Palace clear.
You know, Jesse, I was just thinking, it's been around for a while now, but the changes with Fast ROM and people still, what, a year and a little more later, it, you don't quite see those clean Phase 2 Trinexes like you used to.
It is a lot harder. Even I've noticed the same. Like my NMG Phase 2 Trinex, like that slow release after the explosion is pretty easy to cope with. Then the Fast ROM one does make it, I feel like I'm less consistent. Like I can get it a lot. It just feels like not nearly as regular. Yep, here we go. Werf into Swamp Palace, doing left side for CT4. Andy is beginning his GT climb, so he won't have to do left side swamp when he gets back.
And you were saying a minute ago about wondering how the little timing things work out. Here's armlx not quite to that swamp wall, and of course CRC doesn't know about left side swamp anyway, but here's that as Karma is finishing up tile room. Something that the pugs just didn't really have to deal with.
Yeah, just a rough go on this seed, honestly, for CRC. Had a really strong game one to, take advantage of the errors on pugs, and this game has just kind of been the opposite story. Like some of those those unfortunate routing things that happened to pugs in game one have gone the other way today. This is just so the way that the league works is we have a total of 7 weeks of a regular season. Each week of the regular season, each team plays 2 games against one other team. So this week, Pugs and Crystal Roller Crew play 2 games of ADKDB, and then they'll play a different team next week. So at this point, it's, this is just kind of one piece that they have, like the first week, playoffs is best of 3, but we're a ways away from playoffs.
I think we're closer to this year's playoffs than we are to last year's playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that's not wrong.
With League and Maine having to kind of swap ins really quick, we had there are a very limited number of people who can say that they played League in 2024.
Yes.
Just one of those weird vagaries of the schedule.
Yeah, this is just the first week of the season. We do have 6 more weeks. Week 2 will be starting on, Monday? So, and that week will be Boss Hunt.
Yep, we're going to a 1v1 mode next week. We've got 4 weeks worth of co-op modes and 3 weeks worth of 1v1s. And next week's going to be one of those 1v1 weeks, so if 4 people is maybe a little much for you and you would rather see that old classical rando head-to-head action, well, next week we're going to bring it to you.
Arm working through Swamp Palace is going to have to do left side. I imagine he will do the back first, hoping that it's on his path, and then he'll be back in for left side. Meanwhile, Andy took down Aga 2 as Werf is in Aga Tower. So Werf will be our first runner done tonight. Yeah, we did have that Swamp Palace big key at Dig Spot after the shovel we got in GT. Nothing on it, though. Not even a gold sword. Like, maybe there's a gold sword here to find for fun, but... Hey, speaking of gold sword... And an unfortunate small key there for Ice Palace.
At this point, I don't think it's anything but inventory clutter.
Yeah, I mean, we saw red mail, we've seen most of the other things. It's like, you know, there's no reason to really, for the pugs to have checked it, so they're fine. This is purely, you know, Arm is looking for a CT small and not sure where it is. And is going to get it on left side, but, you know, this makes the most sense from a routing perspective. You do the back first.
It's where the majority of the checks are, it's where the dungeon prize is, and you have to have all of those. It's possible that you get to skip left side. Not in this seed, but at least sometimes.
And Andy's going to get to take advantage of that that fourth CT small he has. He can go for Aga 1 here first, and then he can go do Swamp and save and quit after finishing Swamp Palace. So nice little bonus for Andy. Andy not getting the hook speed, unfortunately, it looks like, in the cutscene room. Worf got pretty far on his. I mean, I think, unfortunately, like, you know, the whole thing with... Oh, Arm skipped left side swamp.
Yes, he did.
Oh, no. I mean, what I'll say at this point is, like, it's nothing against what happened for CRC today. This has been pretty much the Pugs' race from the word go. Had Dark World access a little bit sooner, like, not a ton, but just enough sooner. And from there, it's just kind of grown with the hammer and the left side swamp. Like, from an info perspective and just any way possible, this has been the Pugs race.
And in fairness, this is what you're signing up for when you get into the Invitational League. Rando is going to happen sometimes, but you look at the players in the Invitational League and you say, man, everybody in here is terrifying.
Yep.
Like, if they don't make a mistake and I make a mistake, that's the game. And the problem is, it's rando. I don't know what a mistake is going into this.
And apparently, Garrison pointing out, Zaf was missing, or sorry, not Zaf, Arm was missing a small key to swamp.
Oh.
So that is why he did not do left side. So, ouch. Yeah, that's kind of rough.
There is the pig exploding for Werfjig with the sword raised high in the air. Pugs is going to get one runner on the board here
Yeah,
and
get
put
those
all
Gs.
kinds of pressure on the Crystal Roller Crew.
Yeah, get that G in chat for Werf finishing with a 135.38. That is a very strong time in ADKDB. Those sub 140s are great times to see you put up. It's hard to beat those. So great run for Werf. Andy into Swamp. He's just got to get to Argus, save and quit, and then go kill the pig. Yeah, and here's the tough part is like, you know, for CRC, they're looking at that finish and like, what did we miss? That's a rough thing to see. It's like we're not in go yet, and they are like we're stunned, so they're in go. They've got to be close. Like you don't know how far behind Andy is, but it's not looking great.
Sometimes you just look at the time and you say, how? And then when the race is over, you ask, and it becomes very clear to you that, yeah, some seeds want to be ordered very particularly, and that's not what you did.
Well, and I think the first thing, like, immediately I have to imagine ARmlx's, like, that hammer probably really bit us tonight.
Very much so.
Yeah. And Andy dropping in for Ganon here. So yeah, for Arm and Karma, what needs to happen is Arm needs to get his last Swamp Small out of Hyrule Castle, and then go back for left side Swamp. And it looks like he's making his way there now. There's our first silver arrow. Andy waited a little bit, just not enough to get that triple on the way up. He's going to go for the triple down here. Does get it. Very nice. Get your GGs in chat for Andy and the perfect unadulterated gaming squad or pugs as they take game 2 this week against the Crystal Roller Crew. Andy finishing with an official race time of 1:38.52, and after that finish comes in, understandably, both ARmlx and Karma saying, we've had it with this one, thanks, but no thanks. So we got forfeits from both Arm and Karma, so get your GGs in chat as well for the Crystal Roller Crew on their run tonight. And we'll see if we can get all of the guys in for some chat. We are immediately joined by Andy. Hello.
Hello. How's it going,
I
guys?
see. I'm doing great. Hello to Werfjig as well. GG's.
Yo, thank you. GG's.
Gotta say, this is a great run tonight. Both hitting the sub 100 minutes, so congrats.
Feel pretty good about it. We really got kind of it feels like we got bailed out by Bomb Spooky. Sorry, I have chocolate in my mouth, so I
No, it's quite all right. I mean, you had so
Somebody
much
else
time to
talk.
start. You had so much time to eat chocolate and whatever else, waiting for Andy to catch up this time.
Yep.
It's a little treat for me.
Honestly, the Bomb Spooky was nice because it did help in that sense, because like They didn't have the keys even when they went back to Swamp Palace. We are also joined by Karma, GG.
GG's. Arm will be here in a second.
Okay.
GG's. Yeah, knowing where, like, we knew where 5 Swamp Smalls were. But, you know, having to go in without Hook for the Desert Big. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to spooky here, like, just in case. Like, if Hook Shot's over here, and there's just, like, another Swamp Small in GT to put Hook and Logic back over here, like, that's gross, right? And then pulling the CT Small, I was like, well, there's that. And Murph was like, okay, well, I need that Swamp 6, bro.
I mean, wait. There wasn't any, like, coaching, like, Andy, you weren't like, I'm going to teach you how to bomb Spooky in voice right now?
Absolutely not.
I know the theory behind Swamp Spooky, and I've gotten it once. And I tried for the Meyer Spooky once as well, so, like, I know how it works and stuff. I didn't want to get to that point where I was reliant on it and, like, run out of bombs, and then that would feel really bad. It honestly would have felt bad then. It would have felt worse than just searching for Swamp 6, so I'm just like, I'm still going to full clear whatever. So
I blame the flu 100%.
Yeah, unfortunately, Karma, for you guys, it kind of started with the hammer was kind of the beginning of this one.
No, me not grabbing the powder was the beginning of it.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, yes, the powder, but because it led to hammer.
Oh yeah. I bombed the hole in the back of blinds because he told me to get everything. I just never walked in and grabbed the powder.
Oh no.
Dang.
Oh no, dude. I thought that was him just being like, Karma's a beast, he doesn't need powder. Don't need no safeties.
Nah, I'm literally like, I've been floating between 100 and 102 fever all day.
Oh, dude, that sucks.
So I told Arvin going in the race, I was like, yeah, this probably won't go well. My mental game's not there right now.
So even bedridden, Zaf won't cover for you.
No,
No,
Zap is
Zaf
out.
is probably still flaming me.
Zaf is in
I guarantee you Zaf is still flaming me.
Okay, so here's what we got. Zaf in SG chat right now. Why didn't you say something? I would have subbed in question mark. Huh.
I'm not even reading chat. I don't care. He can flame me all he wants. Where's Arm at? Come on.
I don't know.
He's no longer over in League. I don't know where he went.
Maybe Zaf's flaming him too.
Let me see if I
Probably.
can shoot him an invite real quick.
That seed was really, really gross on our part, though. We just, it was a chaos of mistakes.
Yeah, I'm just that everything that was required in Swamp was kind of dirty because, like, you could get that Desert Big early, but like as soon as you go for that, you're committing to.
There
saying,
we go.
I need all 6 Swamp keys, and I think just the meta of this mode is that nobody wants to do that. So.
But yeah, we are also joined by Arm. GG, sorry, I guess invite did not reach you until I sent one. So thanks for
Discord is a place with things. It's fine. Yeah, GG's y'all. It was I think we made some mistakes, had some bad things happen, and then tonight Bomb Spooky was not just a pure time loss.
Yeah. I will say when Andy told me he was doing it, I'm like, well, there's a minute when we'll get back.
Yeah, it was literally just like, it was mostly for like the hookshot scam. If like hookshot wasn't in GT and it was just another Swamp Small to put it in Logic. But
We did get Look on Ped.
Array literacy. I was gonna say,
Yeah.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say pulling Buck on Pet is extra terrible because that means you've already gone into Swamp the second time, and there's no way you're going in for a third. At least before clearing out like your tablets and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, and I also hadn't gotten the Hyrule Castle Swamp Small, so I was just like never going back in. I mean, there was also some other mishaps we had. Like, Karma went into Thieves on 2. It was just like, yeah, this sounds fine. And I, like, pulled the Thieves Town 3 on the mountain, like, right as he was hitting blind. And then I rushed Eastern because I got the second small, which meant I did pod stuff before going back to Thieves on 3 keys, which was just wrong. And so I just had to make another trip to pod, just like stuff like that.
Well, and I
Yeah.
think at that moment when you were in Eastern, I don't think you had knowledge of Hammer either, so it kind of compounded a little bit.
No, I had just gotten it, and that's why I was like, oh, I can just do Eastern pod now. Because we didn't, Karma didn't grab powder the first time through, just like on a goof, but like, I don't think we would have done it and interrupted our Smith chain on that first trip, and I just went back on a second trip to do like all of Smith chain with powder, and that was where the hammer was. Like, oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we were at that like relatively early post myths, I think. I did the mountain while Werf did like front of desert and village of outcasts. And I was like prepping Werf to like properly route doing Smith chain and bat without the hammer.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Oh, doesn't matter." So that was funny.
Yeah, I just got the hammer and short circuited and was like, wait, Karma, fix hammer pegs for me.
Oh yeah, I had to fix. I'm sitting there on no brain, and I had to fix so many things. The arm messed up. He was like, "Fix this for me. Fix left side
Yeah.
mire for me because I burned the wrong key."
Yeah, Karma's here like, I'm the one not feeling great, and I'm like, I like exited Fishbone using my small key and then tried to go back to left side, and none of this works, and now I have to like walk all the way back around. And, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of really bad decision points in this seed too. There was like the hookless swamp versus like mire with no fire. God, it was like 5 hearts, blue mail, no lamp, no bow mire.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Or like
yeah,
going into swamp.
Yeah.
Werf was like, I have 5 hearts. I was the one that went to skull, so I had the half magic and the fairy bottle first.
Yep.
So I was like, I should probably be the one that goes to mire since I have the fairy and the half magic. I can just turn my brain off and use the cape.
Yeah.
Or like without half magic, that's a little more dangerous, especially like through the dark basement.
Yeah, we had the exact same decision point of I had been the one in skull and just like, yeah, no, you go deal with that.
Yeah, and then at the end too, it was like hookless swamp or go into TR with 2 small keys and see what happens. And then I pulled the small key in the first chest in Turtle Rock, and I'm like, oh god, here it goes. And then he just that was all that was in there. That was cool. So yeah, I was just like I again was the guy who climbed Agate Tower without the ability to beat it.
You did the back of desert without the 4th key.
Yeah, that was like the only mistake. I was like, I kept putting pod off. Like I went to swamp before pod, and I was like, I don't need that small key. Like, I'm just gonna grab the desert big and bomb spooky. If Hook's over here, like I'm, heck me, I guess.
You, we also did.
I just forgot the desert small was in pod, and so I was like, my only goal was to get desert big, go to desert, and just like make it so Werf didn't have to full clear GT. And then I was like, oh
yeah, because we needed all 4 desert smalls because of the right side. Did you all have that early with a save scum or no?
No. Once Werf found the 4th one, I was like finishing up Ice Palace or something, and he found the 4th. So I was like, that's in pod. I got to do that at some point, anyways. So I just went and opened the door with 3 smalls, since it was in logic.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Oh yeah, you should have done that then, Orm, when you were going in for the TR small.
Which?
The one in the back of when you went in the back of desert to get the TR small. You should have just went over and opened it.
Well, the TR small you needed.
No, that was I didn't go back.
You only needed
I went back on 4 for that because I that was the other like gross part was I went for that fire rod, and then I was like, well, I probably need this TR small because most of the stuff we have left is like all the way back in TR, because at the time I think we had 3 swamp smalls and one of them was hook locked in hookshot cave, so we had like 4 items in swamp or every fire rod locked item, so it's like, yeah, I gotta go all the way to the back, and then like to get the desert big as like the swamp thing after that. I was like, oh well, that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we put off swap for way too long.
But it's really
Yeah.
There's no way you don't put off swamp for that long.
Yeah. Also, like, I don't think we had enough small keys logically to get to the middle for so long that it was just kind of like.
No, yeah, the 2 swamp smalls were like really late or like really awkward that like one person wasn't going over to get the other one.
I'm trying to remember where they all
for
were.
a while.
I remember one was in Zelda Cell, which is just really nasty.
Well, that
Oh,
one was
it was
hilarious because
Zelda?
the ball and chain guard had the big key.
Yeah, that was one of those decision points that felt really bad at the time. And then when I found that big key, I was like, oh, it's a big key. Ball and chains is important. And then it was to this dungeon. I was like, oh, all right.
Oh, you should have saw my face in Ice Palace.
Oh gosh, yeah. We Karma went through, killed cold, and then went back for the jelly, and didn't have the small key to continue back through IPBJ side. It was like, well, just going through Ice Palace 8,000 times.
Yeah. Okay. So
Oh yeah, the swamp smalls, Paradox and Hook Cave.
Hookshot
were the
Cave
first
was out of
2.
logic.
Yeah.
So
And
the
then
logical
we
one-
got pod map room or map chest, and then Zelda Cell. So those are the only 3 available.
There was another.
Or no, there was
somewhere.
another one.
I think. Because I went
I probably didn't.
in on. Yeah, because I went.
Oh,
into
there was one
Swamp.
in Swamp. There was one in Swamp
Yes,
too.
that's what it was. I went into Swamp on 3, found that one just as Karma was getting the one in Castle, and it was like, oh well, I guess I'm continuing now.
Mhm.
That's one of those things where it's like you have the keys to continue on and check the big key chest, but who would do that, right? You wouldn't. You're committing to needing all 6 swamp keys if you try for that, because you've
Yeah.
already opened the specky door.
Yeah, it's just terrible. Well, I guess it's time for the reverse mode, where instead of like having to figure out all these things, you just like open the chests and then don't need half the items to complete the seed.
Yeah, and you play by yourself.
Yes, literally the reverse.
Yeah. Speaking of, this does conclude week 1 for both teams. Who's looking forward to boss hunt?
I have.
It'll
to
be
play-
done quickly.
Hold on. Let me just relay the message that Daaanty posted in our league chat.
Okay.
Hold on. Where is it? We just talk smack too much. I gotta scroll up for this. It was something along the lines of like, Andy, do you want a boss hunt? Figured I'd ask because you're probably just gonna resident sleeper me or something like that.
I think Daaanty was offering to play it because
I wouldn't want to.
yeah, which is fair.
We have gone as far as determining that I am playing one of the boss hunt seeds, and I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing that we had really like scheduled out was like me, Werf doing cross keys. Nobody wants to see Daaanty do that.
Maybe
We
our
did talk
And
about that on,
and like
the night.
inverted, you know, like I don't care about inverted, so I was like, I'll do that. And it turns out I'm like on vacation for the entire week except for Monday, the inverted week. So we'll have to see what happens with that.
Best of luck to your opponents on scheduling a quick Monday race for
Yeah.
that week.
Well, that's why the scheduling threads go up early, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a couple of things decided. I mean, we all know I'm not playing cross keys because of my 2 teammates.
Yeah, and I
They kicked
I've
me out of
tried
that
to
one.
play. I have tried to play Enemizer indoors, and then I told them to do that.
Where's this fun?
I think doors is really fun, but I feel like the amount of effort I would want to put into like, I don't know. I play this mode and I like walk into pod and I'm like, how many flippers rooms do I have left? And I'm like, I wish I knew that. I wish I had a system for knowing that. I don't want to put a system together for a single race. I'm off it.
I did one of the asyncs and got smoked, and I was like, oh, I guess you just never go independent dungeons in this mode. That's cool.
Except for when you do, because they have like 30 items, and you should have known that because you knew the item counts in the other dungeons. It's so weird.
Yeah, but that'll be fine.
Yeah, just
play the game
go through
for it.
doors.
Yeah.
Don't think too hard about it.
But yeah,
I told
anything...
another friend of
Oh,
mine, I
sorry.
have it on very good authority that no one wins Tours Week.
Probably not
Hey,
wrong.
I'm gonna have a smile doing it. All right.
Yeah,
I was gonna say I've been practicing and I've enjoyed it. Like,
yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, and I am very happy that it was included in the. Like, even if it goes away next season, I'm happy that we had it for a little bit.
My
I
plan
hope-
going into doors
Yeah.
is my only 2 tournament losses is to Jim in the beginner's doors tourney.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
No, I found it. Daaanty says maybe you and me this week, unless Andy really wants to, because I feel like it's basically glorified open mode.
I mean, it is. It is basically glorified.
Not
Yeah.
wrong.
And then he posted a feel sleeper, man.
but yeah, I mean,
thanks for comment, guys.
yo, always a pleasure.
Appreciate it. GG's solid split for the first week of league.
Yeah, much better than O2, so I'll take it.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never want to start O2. That's always feels bad.
I'm just happy to not fall on my face in the first game with the new team.
It's really just Dante's fault, is all you can say. It just ball don't lie.
Yeah, there's an emote for it already, so we only have to make it.
Yeah.
That, jeez.
Yeah, GG's guys.
GG's.
GG's.
Yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out and having a good chat here in Voice After the Race. We did get links in chat, so do make sure to follow all of our runners, Werf, Arm, Andy, and Karma. Also, another shout out to our trackers, Furious Prince and Nochibato. Really appreciate having the two of you helping out tonight, as always. And damn, it was a pleasure to have you in the comm booth with me tonight.
It's always fun to get together and talk a little rando with you, Jesse. It's fun when League comes back around. Let's not wait several months to do it again. We've got more games coming up this week. We've got an entirely different mode coming up next week. Let's aim for within the next couple of weeks, rather than
Maybe for your
the next
team
half year.
namesake.
Yeah, maybe we can aim for
Yeah.
that one. That could be fun.
Yeah. But with that, that's going to end it here on Speed Gaming tonight for Link to the Past Randomizer League. I will say there are races still for the rest of this week. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we do have more of the co-op ADKDB. So plenty of races are going to happen there. Do make sure to tune in here and across Speed Gaming and the ALTTPR League channels. There'll be plenty of races, and we'll be nearing our movement into week 2 for Boss Hunt. With that, though, I've been Jesse, Radical Sniper 99, and for everybody here at Speed Gaming, have a great night.